Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 351. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today, we got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hey.
Yeah, this week on the show, we'll be taking a look at Jack Henry Robins' VHYes, alongside of what we've been watching on the watch list, and new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Please remember to review us on iTunes if you get a chance. That'd be super helpful. A couple things to go over at the top of the show here. There will be a new Ryan Watches a Movie coming out this week. It's a very special episode. So I can say it on here now because we already told Ryan, but Kevin and I have been secretly donating to the Frederick Ataxia Research Alliance throughout the year. Anytime Ryan gave a score that was an 8, 9, or 10. So if you're not familiar with Ryan Watches a Movie, or maybe just what we've talked about in the past on the show, Ryan has a disease called Frederick Ataxia. It's a neurological disease, and currently there is no cure. So we thought we could use the podcast to help do something positive in the FA community. So we decided to donate every time he would give us an 8, 9, or 10 in his score. So be sure to listen to that when we surprise him with the amount that we donated over the past year.
Oh, he lost it.
He was, I guess you could say he was ecstatic. For 2020, I'm going to try to bring back the monthly giveaways. I did a little bit in 2019, and then I sort of fell off on doing it, but I'm going to try to bring it back and do a monthly giveaway, a Blu-ray every single month. This month, we're kicking it off with the new Blu-ray release of Tammy and the T-Rex from 1994. This is the gore cut that Vinegar Syndrome is putting out. I'll put a link in the show notes where you can enter. You can also go on the website, and it'll be listed on there as well. So if you want to win a copy of Tammy and the T-Rex, the gore cut, Vinegar Syndrome, limited edition, click the link and sign up. I'm not going to do anything with your email or anything like that either. I'm not going to sell your information. This is just a fun little thing. You could enter and win. I haven't seen it yet, by the way. I'm very anxious to see the Tammy and the T-Rex gore cut. We're recording this month's episode of Saved by the 90s today, so expect that to drop sometime within the next couple weeks. I think we're going to plan on releasing that on the 20th, so stay tuned for that. Just as a sneak peek, we're doing monster movies, January monster movies to be specific. So we're going to be talking about Deep Rising, The Relic, Tremors, and Body Snatchers. We're also going to be talking about The X-Files.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. It's really fun to go back and watch some of these. Although Tremors is like a yearly watch for me. So that was nothing new, but hey, still enjoy it. I love an excuse to watch Tremors.
That's an absolute classic.
It is. It truly is. Truly.
That's like the first movie I think that I watched over and over and over again.
Yeah, when I watched it this time, because I never really watched Tremors and actually tried to think about why I love it so much. So this time when I watched it, I was actually taking notes and like reasons why I really love Tremors and what it does right. And I'll be discussing it on the show, but it really is a great movie.
Good. I thought you were going to be like, at the end, I had nothing in my notes. And so
It was just a blank page.
I'm pissed off.
No, they do a lot of things right in that movie. All right, I think we can talk about our movie this week, VHYes. This is directed by Jack Henry Robins. I have a synopsis here. This bizarre retro comedy shot entirely on VHS and beta follows 12-year-old Ralph as he accidentally records home videos and his favorite late night shows over his parents' wedding tape. Now, I should be having a written review up for this very shortly after this episode drops on Monday. So we'll start with you, Kevin. What were your initial impressions on VHYes?
This is an odd one because in certain aspects it works. Like it does a pretty good job of doing the whole channel surfing thing. So if you don't really know a whole lot about VHYes, they established pretty early on that this kid has a VHS camera. He got a tape, which is his family's or his parents' wedding. So that cuts in and out of him recording stuff. But then they have, he plugs it into the TV and he can record straight off the TV. So a lot of times they'll switch to that. So it's him kind of channel surfing and watching TV. Okay. So it works well in the head. They do a good job of like creating that sense of channel surfing, but they do such a good job that the actual like process of channel surfing is really boring and mundane. So it comes across as really boring and mundane because it either goes one of two ways, right? The little thing that, with whatever program it is that he's on for a couple of seconds either sucks and it goes away, but okay, you're still watching something that sucks. Or it's actually something that's somewhat funny, but then it's gone. So you only get to enjoy it for, maybe a minute or so. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's and then like the title of this movie, which is a weird thing to kind of comment on, but it just kind of gives an overall feeling of like this is just a novelty thing. Like there's no really reason to take this seriously. I mean, it's called VHYes. What the fuck?
I like the title. I like it.
And it's like, okay, you got the VHS thing. Yeah. But, for me, there was very small amounts of this that I was like, oh, this is funny. I'm enjoying this. A lot of the other stuff, I was just, this is kind of dumb.
I'll agree with you in certain respects with this. I didn't find myself like laughing hysterically throughout this, but some of the things I thought were really amusing. It's very bizarre, as the synopsis suggests. It's very much, it feels like an Adult Swim thing. That's what it feels like to me. So if you're familiar with the like live action Adult Swim stuff that they put on like really late night, like Too Many Cooks and those other kind of one-off things that they do sometimes. What's the one? Was it unedited footage of a bear or
Yeah, something along those lines.
Like that. Just those kind of things that are like, or even like a Tim and Eric type thing where it's sort of a riff on cable access stuff that you would see in the 80s or 90s, early 90s. I think this does take place in the 80s, actually.
Yeah.
I think it was like 88 or something, 86, 88, somewhere around there. And it's sort of like almost like sketches, almost like skits that occur as this kid is recording stuff off of late night TV. And some of it worked, some of it didn't. It was a little bit of a mixed bag for me, although I think the overall package I enjoyed. I just like the concept, really. What it boils down to is I like the idea of this movie. I like the idea more than I like the actual execution of it.
Yes.
I think the idea of making a modern movie and shooting it entirely on VHS and beta I think it's a great idea. I thought that they did nail the aesthetic of it because of how they shot it. If they shot it on digital and then tried to make it look like VHS, I don't think it would have been as effective. I don't think it would have worked as good. And I think that there's a certain nostalgia that this brings that kind of skews my enjoyment of it, because this is something that I did. Like, I did this as a kid. I would take these random home movies of just dumb shit, like outside in my yard or whatever, and I would record random garbage off of TV. So this kind of brought me back to somewhat of a bygone era where you could just record stuff off of your giant VHS camcorder and plug it into your TV and record stuff that was on TV. So in a lot of ways, it did make me feel nostalgic, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it too. But like you said, some of the channels, some of the shows that are represented here are kind of really hit or miss.
It's odd too, because one, I knew, this director, Jack Henry Robbins, which it took me embarrassingly amount of time
to figure out that he was the son of Tim Robbins and Susan Sarandon.
Because I clicked on a couple of things, and like there's another picture of Tim Robbins. I'm like, why is Tim Robbins so invested in this guy? Like it doesn't match up. And then I finally put two and two together and realized, I'm like, oh, he loves his son. I gotcha.
He wants to be a supportive father. Yeah. Yeah.
Because like a lot of the shorts are, it looks like there's this like all these other shorts that he made, he just kind of dumped them into VHYes because he has The Hot Winter, which is a short from 2017. Painting with Joan is a short from 2017. Christmas 92 is a short from 2016. So it looks like he just took a lot of these shorts and just kind of spliced them into this.
Well, they're different though.
Thing.
They are different. Yeah. At least, well, actually the only one that I saw was Painting with Joan. And that one is, I'm pretty sure, I mean, they definitely expanded on it. They didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the shows that are in this were lifted from his previous short films. I enjoyed the Painting with Joan, Carrie Kenny.
I didn't like the Painting with Joan. The only things I did like was the Antique Roadshow knockoff thing.
The Mark Proksch one.
And I just love when it's turned to, he's just like, it's a chair. I don't know what you want me to say. It's not even that old. It's just like a plastic folding chair. And I love that it wasn't really like, what is it worth or anything. It was just, what was it called? Like, what is this?
Can you tell me
what this is?
Yeah.
That was it. He was just telling people what it was. So that worked for me a little bit. And then the ridiculous, like late night softcore.
That was the best. I thought that those segments were the best. I thought that those were the funniest. That the edited for TV softcore porn that they would show.
And to me, the only thing that worked was because of the guy Cameron Simmons.
Oh, he was so. Oh my God, he nailed that role. He was so funny. Every line, every stilted line delivery that he gave, I thought was just, it made me laugh. I thought that those segments were the best.
It's so ridiculous. And I mean, it did get a little bit interesting at how they tried to like actually make it like a movie and to be about something, you know, with the whole VHS and the constant recording and having an impact on your reality. But that just came like a little bit, you know, too little, too late at the end for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was sort of
like, things are getting interesting.
Yeah, when they interviewed that one woman who was talking about like how this like is the beginning of a kind of a scary future where everything is recorded and we're all, you know, basically prophesizing what the reality that we live in now, where everything is on social media. We're all these vain narcissists who are just recording everything that we do, and we're all glued to our phones and all of that. I liked that, but I also liked the sort of undercurrent of the problems that his parents were having and how you got just these little breadcrumbs of what was going on in this kid's family life, and clearly the impending divorce of his parents. And I liked that aspect of it too. It gets a little surreal at the end too. It gets significantly more bizarre towards the end.
Yeah, I could use more of that.
More of the weirdness.
A lot of it, like so much of it is just the channel surfing, which again, like I said, is like he does a good job of capturing the channel surfing, but at the same time, I'm not even doing the channel surfing. Someone else is. Like me doing channel surfing myself is a very mundane and awful task, but having someone else do it and me witnessing it is even worse.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of it's supposed to be an immersive piece, right? It's supposed to be like, we just found this VHS tape. Like we went to Goodwill and we bought a VCR and it just happened to have this tape in it. And we sat down and we just watched it, you know, and it was just this compilation of all kinds of random things, you know, cutting from the wedding to the dumb little home videos. That I did love the scene when they were setting up the fireworks, and he told him to hit the red button, and it actually stopped recording, and then they started, because that happened to me multiple times as a kid. So I enjoyed that. I think my least favorite was the Charlene Yee segments where she has that like talk show thing with her parents in their basement, and they had like the bands on. I thought that way too much time was spent like showing full music numbers. I wasn't really into that, and I had a hard time believing that this like 12-year-old kid would sit through that, like watch that whole thing. Because I know me at 12, I would put that on and be like, nope, and just change the channel. I don't want it to sound like I didn't enjoy this movie though. I did like the concept, and I liked where they were going for it, and I found several of the segments to be pretty funny, and I liked how it was all put together. It's only like 74 minutes long or something like that, 72 minutes as well. So it's pretty brisk.
I mean, that's one of its top benefits, I think.
Yeah, I think with a movie like this, you can't make it. You just can't make it long.
Because I think even for me personally, I think even the 75 minutes or whatever was too long. I think this would be fine as a short. You make it like 15 minutes long.
Do you remember how long, how much time you could record on a VHS tape? Those like extended play VHS tapes, you could record like 12 hours on them.
Oh yeah.
It's like so long. You could fit so much on a VHS tape. I liked Ralph's friend, Josh, played by Ram Praslaw.
They could have done more of that too.
I thought he was funny. More stuff with the kids.
Yeah, more stuff is just more stuff besides the channel surfing. It's like so much of it is just for whatever reason him plugging in and flipping around the channels.
They did break it up a little bit though. They did have those sort of interstitial moments with the two kids and him interacting with his parents and stuff. But any final thoughts on VHYes?
No.
Okay. What are you gonna give it out of 10?
I give it like a 4.5, 5.
I'm sitting at a 6 on this one.
All right.
VHYes will be in limited release on Friday. All right, let's move on and talk about someone watching on our watch list. I think it might be your turn, Kevin.
Oh, okay. Let me hit you with a big one right off the bat. Irishman.
Oh, ooh.
I mean, really, this was part of the whole catch-up, 2019 catch-up thing. So we didn't really get to talk about it because we were doing other things for the podcast. But Irishman, Scorsese in there. So two things that, everyone was kind of talking about, which I found kind of surprising. One, not really surprising, which we already talked about. Runtime, perfectly paced movie. I think they cover a lot, but the way in which he does it, I didn't really feel that runtime at all. I thought it was perfectly paced, honestly. And I was in it pretty much the whole way through. There was nothing that was like, okay, to me, it didn't drag at any point. The main thing that surprised me, is there was a lot of discussion, a lot of talk about the whole, like Anna Paquin doesn't have anything to say in this movie. So tons of talk about that before I saw The Irishman. So I'm kind of curious to see how that goes. And I'm very perplexed because not only is it kind of obvious what is happening with Anna Paquin's character here, but like it's not even like subtext. Like it is like full on forward facing, just like out in front of like what the purpose of her character is and her silence is. That just completely baffles me that anyone would like misconstrue that.
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
It just blew my mind. Like I thought there would be a little bit more there, but like the camera lingers on her to make a point that there's a reason that she doesn't speak.
I think the same can be said about people complaining of Margot Robbie's lack of dialogue in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like I don't think that the lack of dialogue somehow diminishes a character's role in a movie.
Yeah. But I mean, just like even the way that it's presented in this movie, like there's a very good reason that it's done this way, which is just I was so confused. I'm like, how can you misread that? The only thing that I thought was kind of weird was the de-aging thing. That didn't really work for me, but it also didn't really detract from the overall experience. It was like, it doesn't look that great, but whatever.
I thought it was fine. Like I didn't really have an opinion on it one way or the other.
There was one scene, and I don't know if like part of the de-aging process was to make De Niro's eyes like brighter in color, because there's one sequence where like he looks up and his eyes go to like fucking neon crystal blue, and it was just really bizarre. But it was only for like a little bit.
I don't remember that. But overall, it seems like you're pretty high on The Irishman.
I was pretty high on The Irishman. It had me hooked.
Let's see. I saw The Wraith from 1986. This is, I don't even know what you want to call this. Not really a horror movie. I guess it's a horror movie. It's directed by Mike Marvin, stars Charlie Sheen, Nick Cassavetes, Randy Quaid, and Clint Howard. That's quite the lineup there. So it's about, takes place in this little Arizona town where there's this like gang, this gang who are just running the town, and they're like running people off the road and forcing people to enter in these street races, and they're taking their cars, and this mysterious character shows up in this like futuristic looking car. Sort of looks like a Cybertruck actually. And this person seems to be like going around taking down these gang members. And it just so happens coincidentally that Charlie Sheen shows up in the town too. He's a new guy in town. And it, unsurprisingly, Charlie Sheen is the guy, the mysterious person in the black car. And guess what? He's a ghost.
What?
He's a ghost. It's ridiculous, and it's pretty fun.
He's a ghost.
He is a ghost. Yep.
In a Cybertruck.
Ghost in a Cybertruck. Yep.
Why is he doing this? What is the ghost in the Cybertruck?
He's getting revenge because this gang killed him.
I wonder where he got the Cybertruck. How does the ghost get a Cybertruck?
There's a lot of questions raised in this movie that never really get answered.
Because there has to be like a supernatural department.
It's so ridiculous.
You would have to go to.
He has this. It's so weird. He has this like suit, this like black suit. It's got like tubes and wires and stuff. And every time he kills one of the gang members, like there's these sort of like leg braces that he has on, and every time he kills one of the leg braces disappears. So he's like, I guess, regaining his freedom or something. And
wow.
And then after he kills them all, he's just Charlie Sheen again. But here's the weird thing: when he was a human, when he was alive, he was not Charlie Sheen. He was a different actor. So like they changed him. Really bizarre movie.
I kind of want to watch it.
It's bad. It's very bad, but it's strange, unique.
I watched Larry Cohen's God Told Me To from 1976.
Oh yeah.
And man, Larry Cohen, like, it's just not talked about in the way they should be. He's a canon director to me, or he should be at least. I find him to be a very, very interesting director. Well, I love his style. And man, God Told Me To is, that bad boy starts off, gets straight into it.
Oh yeah.
Just getting straight into it. And I love the idea of this, that, a bunch of random New Yorkers just start killing people, going on killing sprees. There's a sniper on a water tower. There's a guy that like stabs his entire family. A cop played by Andy Kaufman, no less, shoots a bunch of people during the St. Patty's Day parade. And every time that this detective, played by Tony LoBianco, goes and asks him why you do it, all they say is that God told them to, and he kind of starts digging and looking into it. And I really enjoyed where this went, and it's a hell of a movie.
This is on Shudder. You can watch this on Shudder, by the way.
You can also watch this. This was a part of right now on the Criterion Channel. They have this program of 70s sci-fi movies, and this was a part of that. It's so good. It's so good.
I saw Countdown. This is a horror movie from 2019 that I missed out on, and I was slightly interested in it. The premise of this is that you download this app on your phone, and it tells you exactly when you're going to die, and that's it. Like that's what happens when the countdown goes to 0. You're dead.
Oh boy.
At the beginning, I was getting some major Final Destination vibes from it, so I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." I'm kind of digging on this because like you can sort of cheat death, and every time you do that, it and like a notification pops up on your phone and says like user agreement terms have been violated or something like that. And so, for instance, at the beginning of the movie, they open with all these kids at this party, and they all download the app. And for one of the young women at the party, it says that she only has like 3 hours to live. Everybody else, it says there's years and whatever. And so she gets kind of nervous about it, and she's like, she doesn't really believe it, but she's like, you know what, I'm gonna play it safe. So like her boyfriend is completely shit-faced and wants to drive her home, and she's like, no, I'm gonna walk. And when she decides to not get in the car with him, it gives her the notification that the user agreement was violated or whatever. She makes it home, but some sort of force kills her. And then it turns out the boyfriend was in a bad car accident, and it starts off somewhat promising. It starts off a little bit compelling, but it derails so quickly when it's just like it turns into basically just a standard ghost story, and it's not that interesting in the end. So I can't really recommend Countdown by Justin Deck.
I watched Le Corbeau from 1943, trying to get some older movies back into the rotation there, especially considering like the last 2 months is just an onslaught of trying to cram in as many 2019 titles as humanly possible. So kind of got this aversion to newer films. They're trying to go back to watch some old 40s French movies.
Understandable,
right? So this is an interesting one in that the character Remy Germain, he's a doctor in a small French town, right? Kind of has his past is a little bit suspicious. A little, people don't know about. Got some secrets. So a lot of people in town start receiving letters from "quote unquote" the Raven that kind of starts, mostly libeling him, saying that he's like an abortionist and all this stuff, and like he's a really bad person and that you should stay away from him. But like everyone starts getting letters about like the whole town, like all the secrets of the town are getting thrown out there by the Raven and his letters that he's sending to everybody. And of course everyone kind of loses it. Some of them think at certain times they're like, oh, this is just bullshit, we shouldn't listen to it. But there is that like little bit, the kernel of truth in there that everyone starts to get suspicious of everyone else. They're all starting to get a little bit antsy with everyone. And so of course it turns into this, like they have to find out who the Raven is, who's writing all these letters. Of course the doctor, he's the one that's getting the brunt of it. Like no one wants to be around this guy. And of course he was having an affair with the young wife of another doctor, and he's seen another woman and all this stuff. And it's pretty phenomenal. I have to say.
Nice.
I mean, it hooks you right off the bat with the whole idea of this, the Raven sending these letters to like every single person in the town. It kind of creates this mass hysteria and trying to figure out who it is and the reasonings behind it.
Sounds very intriguing.
Yes, I definitely recommend it.
And that's Le Corbeau. That's
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that's like a Criterion channel.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's on there. Trying to get my money out of that. I think I watched like 4 movies last year from that service. Paying like $90 for it.
Yeah, it's underwhelming, or it's overwhelming, isn't it? Like I canceled my Disney Plus subscription because I was like, you know what? I like the idea of having all these kind of classic Disney movies and whatnot at my disposal, but realistically, am I ever going to have time to just watch one of these for fun? I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I'll pick it back up when they get something else new that I'm interested in. I saw Underwater.
Yes.
This is the new sci-fi horror movie.
Yes.
Big budget sci-fi horror movie by William Eubank, who he did The Signal back in 2014. Mm-hmm. I was into that movie. I liked that movie.
I was gonna say, I thought you enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I didn't love it, but I thought it was pretty solid. This movie I really enjoyed as well. It's your classic underwater contained horror movie that features some creatures. You got some monsters in there, but like a lot of these other movies, the creatures are almost play second fiddle to the survival aspect of it. They're in this giant underwater mining facility that's seven miles under the ocean surface, and these creatures are just wreaking havoc and cause a massive breach, and it causes all kinds of problems. Basically, this whole facility, it's enormous, but it's just breaking down piece by piece. And Kristen Stewart plays this scientist who has to sort of get the hell out of there and get her crew members out of there as well. Really fun. This movie is completely nonstop. It just the opening scene, shit hits the fan, and it doesn't let up until the very end. It's, normally in movies like this, you have almost the first entire act is set up, introducing the team, like showing what this base is, what they're doing, establishing the ranks and us getting to know these crew members a little bit before all of the chaos happens. With this one, you don't even know what's going on. You don't know why this is happening. It's just movie opens, bam, you're in it. And I actually really loved that. I thought that was a really cool way to structure the movie, because what happens is it focuses on Kristen Stewart's character. I think her name's Nora. And as she's trying to escape her situation, she ends up finding the survivors, like sort of one by one. And then we're introduced to the next person and the next person and so on. And this allows for these character introductions to be a lot more organic in how they're introduced, rather than having this like giant exposition dump at the beginning where, okay, so this is the comedic relief guy. This is the captain. This is the research assistant who's sort of new to the whole thing, and she doesn't really know what's going on. And this is the pilot guy. And, rather than dumping all of that onto us at the beginning and feeling a little like not very realistic, I guess is what I'm not realistic, but just like, again, I said organic. I think that's the best term.
There you go. Use it again.
It makes the pacing feel a lot more even because of that. I mean, they're in an emergency situation, and they're not going to waste time telling the audience like who this person is, what their relationship is. all of the character development happens in a very fluid manner throughout the movie. And I think they did a really great job with that. The set pieces are numerous and very exciting. It's a very suspenseful movie. You can imagine the kind of situations that you'd be in if you're in an underwater base that's like 7 miles down, dealing with the pressure of the ocean, you know, the water, and the lack of oxygen and all of the various other things, not to mention the creatures that are trying to kill them. So I had a blast with it. I thought it was really fun. Yeah. I'm really bummed that it's not doing better at the box office and that a lot of critics were not really high on this one. I don't really understand like what they wanted out of it.
I think the big thing that excites me is when you said that it doesn't let up, just kind of jumps into it and then goes.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I'm looking for, especially for for like studio type movies going to the theater. Like just get in, let's do it. Get me on the edge of my seat, keep me there until the end.
Yeah. It definitely succeeds at doing that. There's almost no downtime in this. It's just like one thing after the other because they're like racing against the clock. Like they got to get to this other base before where they're at is completely implodes under the water. So there's a lot of like really claustrophobic moments. There's things where like they have to crawl through these like really, really tiny openings and rubble and stuff underwater. And it's really, really fun, really exciting. It's got a bad name. I don't know if maybe the title hurt it in some way. I don't know.
Yeah.
Super generic.
Yeah.
Not very SEO friendly, that title.
No. That's another thing that irritates me over the last couple of years. It's just there's just no creativity in the filmmaking itself, like from studios. There's not enough creativity, which is bad enough, but even the fucking titles, like Jesus, you can't just put a little bit more, razzle dazzle in the name.
I know, right?
At the very least.
Exactly, yeah. Kristen Stewart was really good in this too. I mean, she kicks so much ass in this movie. She's fantastic in it, and really the whole cast does a really solid job. You got John Gallagher Jr. in there, Vincent Cassel, Mamoudou Athie, probably mispronouncing that. Apologies. T.J. Miller's in there too, and he's not horrible. Jessica Henwick is in there as well. So good cast and a really solid movie, and I think you should go see it. Go check it out. Support this endeavor. I think that movies like this represent a dying breed, and we need to try to support studios in making something more than just remakes and reboots and comic book adaptations.
I have one that is a lot of downtime and also has a kind of generic title, but it's not a studio film. This is a part of my 2019 wrap-up. I came across a movie called Bird Island. This played on the Free Festival Scope website. So this is a 1-hour feature. It's kind of one of those hybrids where it really has a strong sense, a strong feel like the documentary, but with a little bit of a narrative through line in there. So this is directed by Mike Cosa and Sergio DaCosta. This is this young guy that has some issues nerve-wise and everything. He gets set in this bird island. It's like this sanctuary. They kind of give him a job and giving him a chance to take over for this guy that is retiring, which all this guy does really is breed rats in order to feed to the raptors, the various raptors that are on this bird sanctuary. So they have a bunch of hawks and a bunch of owls and all sorts of birds, right? And this guy is the young guy that's kind of taken over or training to take over. He's having a difficult time, but the atmosphere of this place kind of helps him too. So it kind of has that dual theme of not only are they kind of rehabilitating these birds, but they're also rehabilitating the people that work there. And just like the overall, the atmosphere of it, the tone of it, it reminded me a lot of like a Bresson film in the way that it's structured and the way that it looks and everything. And it's just, it's pretty great. And this ended up being in like my top 20 of the year. So if you get a chance at some point in the new year, Bird Island comes out, I definitely would check it out.
All right. The last one I'll mention is Synonyms. This came out. This was part of my 2019 cram as well, and I just didn't get a chance to mention it on the show. This is directed by Nadav Lapid. It's this. I think that this ended up on a bunch of people's like year-end lists. This,
yeah,
somewhat high profile. This one, I didn't really enjoy it. The really what so it focuses on this Israeli man who moves to Paris in order to leave behind his Israeli nationality. He's trying to become a French national. He's done with the life in Israel. He doesn't want to deal with it anymore. He doesn't want to be Israeli. He wants to be French. I don't even know if it's specifically that he wants to be French. It's more so that he just doesn't want to be Israeli anymore. So he's not great with the French language. So he steals a Franco-Israeli dictionary, and he just uses that to sort of get by. He's staying at this. He doesn't really have any money, and he's staying at this place, and he gets all his stuff stolen while he's taking a shower, and he has no clothes. He's completely naked, no money, nothing. And this young couple who appear to be very wealthy, this wealthy couple sort of take him in and become friends with him. And the movie just kind of follows his life. Like he gets a job at this as a security guard. He takes classes to become a French national, and he just lives. It follows him around, just doing his thing. The thing is, like, he's kind of an asshole though. Like he sort of party crashes and steals food, and I don't know. He's just sort of a prick the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't really get behind this character. He's really abrasive character. He's not enjoyable. It's meant to be that way. He's not meant to be a very likable character, I don't think, but the movie was fine overall. I just I don't know. So something about it really wasn't gelling with me too much. Like it was okay. I would say it's like middle of the road for me.
Well, I can take that off the list though. Because I do, like you said, I've seen that show up on a number of lists, but at the same time, I didn't really remember anyone talking about it, which was kind of a perplexing title for me for 2019. To see it on lists, but also not remembering anyone speaking of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually kind of struggling to even talk about it.
Yeah, I was just like, no, I can take that off the list.
I don't really. There's not. I mean, I remember specific scenes, but there's like, I don't know. It's fading from my memory very rapidly at this point.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to really talk about. Like, I saw the new Star Wars. That sucks big time. I crammed in the Lighthouse. I didn't really like that. I thought the performances were good, and it looked pretty great, but then it got really fucking redundant and just went absolutely nowhere, and it was really annoying.
Yeah, I found it to be really grating. Like I recognize the thing that did it for me, like you said, was the performances and the cinematography. Like that's what really brought it up for me big time. But like, it's not a movie that I could see myself going back and watching again.
God, no. And there comes a certain point too, like halfway through it, where you're like, okay, I get it. Like the black and white, it looks great with the ocean and everything. And Willem Dafoe's doing his thing. but like, it's just the same thing over and over and over again. And after a certain point, it's just like, we're not doing anything. Like, you're just reiterating what this is every 5 minutes. Like, there's no point to this. And I was really hoping that it would culminate in something, like when it finally got, but even that didn't even, it's such a mundane culmination. It's just like, I suffered through that, I wadded through all of that, and that was the payoff. That's what you gave me.
All right, let's take a look at what we have in theaters this week. We have Weathering with You. This is the animated film from the director of Your Name, which I actually liked a whole lot. This one sounds interesting. I just saw a clip for this recently. It's about a young woman who has the ability to change the weather. Like she can make she can make it sunny.
Ooh.
She can clear the skies.
Okay.
Looks like another tearjerker, maybe.
Oh boy.
From Makoto Shinkai. I'll be checking this one out at some point this year. I don't know if I'll see it in the theater. We got Bad Boys for Life. Oh, by the way, Weathering with You is in theaters on the 15th. Bad Boys for Life is going to be in theaters on Friday. What do you think about Bad Boys for Life? Were you into the Bad Boys movies? I can't remember.
No, I don't think I've seen any of the Bad Boys movies.
I saw both of them, and I never liked them. Like I remember Ryan was so into the Bad Boys movies. In fact, a lot of our friends were back then.
Yes.
They just loved Bad Boys, man. Everybody loved Bad Boys, but I don't know, for whatever reason, couldn't really get into it. And this one just doesn't really look like anything to me. I'm not too excited about this. Also, Doolittle is coming out. Same feeling with that. Not too excited. This is the Robert Downey Jr. one.
This looks so terrible.
Yeah, I agree. It looks pretty rough.
You gotta be kidding me.
That's it for theaters.
Wow.
Yeah. So, needless to say, I don't think I'll be heading to the theater.
No.
This week.
Get some chores done. Make a to-do list.
Yeah. VHYes is going to be in theaters too, as we mentioned. That's the one I would see, but I doubt that's not getting a wide release.
No. No.
On VOD this week, we have A Serial Killer's Guide to Life is going to be available on Monday as you're listening to this, the 13th. Then on the 14th, we have Give Me Liberty. We got Nothing Man, Angels Fallen. And then on the 17th, Friday, we have Immortal Hero, Film School Africa, Disturbing the Peace, The Wave. That's a sci-fi comedy with Justin Long.
Justin Long, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Still at it.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
He's doing stuff here and there. Got A Fall from Grace, and that's going to be on Netflix.
Oh.
Got Extracurricular. Looks like a horror comedy. Maybe just a horror. Teen horror. Troop Zero, that's going to be on Amazon Prime. It's the one about the Girl Scout camp. Takes place in 1977. Got Viola Davis, McKenna Grace, Jim Gaffigan, Mike Epps, Allison Janney. And that's about it for VOD. On Blu-ray this week, we have the Beverly Hills Cop trilogy. We got Gemini Man, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, Brewster's Millions from 1985.
Yeah. Yes.
Little Richard Pryor action. That's going to be available on Shout Factory. I think Shout Factory is releasing that. The Jungle Book is getting a 4K release. This is is this the live action one? I can't even tell. Yeah, this is the live action one from 2016. Demons of the Mind from 1971.
Oh boy.
Jexy from last year. That's the comedy with the guy who gets the phone, the AI. It's like the comedic take on her.
Yeah. Ryan was telling me about this one.
I'm sure he was.
Ryan was telling me he saw that one.
I'm sure he did. Did he like it?
I think so.
I mean, he's telling you about it, so
Yeah,
it must have had an impact on him.
you did.
Creep from 1995 is coming out. This is an SRS Cinema exclusive, limited to 100. Only 100 of those getting made.
Wow.
Line of Duty, starring Aaron Eckhart. Remember Aaron Eckhart? Oh my God. I totally forgot about him. Do you remember how big he was? He was so big.
He was. That's another one of those guys that it didn't 100% make sense.
You know who I was thinking
Like,
about?
he wasn't bad, but
No, he wasn't bad.
but it was odd that it's very strange the people that they picked and try and force on us.
Well, I still think he was great, and thank you for smoking.
Yeah, I mean he was, but he's very limited.
I would call him plain. He was just kind of a plain actor.
Yeah,
Like, he was good, but he was just kind of plain. I mean, he did a good job as Harvey Dent, too, in The Dark Knight. Two-Face. Oh, you know who I was thinking about the other day? Chris Kattan. Remember Chris Kattan? What happened to Chris Kattan?
not really the same thing, but yeah, that's an interesting case as well. It's weird that you said that, because for some reason I was thinking about Chris Kattan yesterday, but more specifically his character of Mango. I don't know why. Like, I just remembered that, and I was like, that was a thing.
Yep.
Like, people thought that was like really funny, and they did it numerous times.
One of our friends, I'm pretty sure his favorite movie was Corky Romano. Remember Josh?
Yeah.
He loved Corky Romano.
And to be honest, I think Chris Kattan was like tailor-made for him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was created just for our one friend.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Running with the Devil. This is the Nicolas Cage and Lawrence Fishburne one. We got Piranhas, Give Me Liberty. We got Britt Marie Was Here. I'm not sure what that one is. Iron Sky, The Coming Race. That's probably at least the third one in that series. Pacific Rim Uprising. That's probably some kind of new Blu-ray release. I can't imagine that they're just now releasing that on Blu-ray. A Dog's Purpose. Again, I think that must be some sort of re-release. Ride Along 2, same deal. She Walks in the Woods from last year. Ever heard of that? It's a horror movie. That's pretty much it. What about Criterion's this week?
Oh, we have one. It's 1960s, The Fugitive Guide, with Marlon Brando, based on the Tennessee Williams play. You get a Blu-ray of that, high definition, digital restoration.
Look out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And if you have a minute, consider reviewing us on your podcast platform of choice. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.